So this is a drawing of your brain, and when you're born, this part of your brain, the primitive brain, is fully developed. This is the part of your brain that sets off the fight or flight response when you're in danger. It's what keeps you safe, and that's why right from birth it's active. Now, if at any time of your life you've had a trauma or you've been anxious, what happens is you set off a flight or fight neural connection. It literally forms a circuit, literally like a railway track. And the more you're anxious, the more your primitive brain fires, the thicker that circuit gets. It's called the Hebbian principle, for those who want to know. Neurons that fire together wire together. So during your life, this will get thicker and thicker unless it's treated. People often come and see me and they say, I don't know what it is, nothing major going on in my life, but I'm always anxious. I always have this uncomfortable, horrible feeling. And I know it's because this is firing, because it's like a neural circuit, like a train track that just keeps going round and round unless you know actually how to stop it and how to develop new neural pathways. There's another part of your brain which we'll call the smart brain. This is the part of your brain that makes executive decisions, that can think when you're calm. It doesn't think very well when your primitive brain is firing, because all the activity is going on here, like the train track going round and round, and your smart brain, we say that stress makes you stupid. So what you want to do in therapy, how you get well, neurobiology teaches us, is by forming new neural networks. You want this to become thicker and thicker. You want these neurons to fire together, so they wire together. And when that happens, these start disappearing, because this becomes the active part and this starts disappearing. This is the mechanism by which you stop your anxiety, where you replace old ways of behaving, of your body behaving, old negative thoughts, old ruminations, with new thoughts and behaviors. Now that you know the mechanism, the question is, how do you do it? And there are two key words. These words are practice and repetition. It's not enough just to know I should be thinking this, or I should stop my thoughts, or I should calm my body. You have to practice it, and you have to repeat it enough times in order for this to become your default, for this to be the main way that your brain functions and not to be hijacked by the primitive brain. And this is also why many people have gone for various therapies and feel it doesn't help, because they've had 3 sessions or 5 sessions, or they've learned a few techniques, but they've never actually learned how to replace these negative neural circuits with new, productive, healthy neural circuits. And the good news is, you can replace this in 90 days. I developed this manual in response to my clients' needs. Over the years I discovered, and I'm talking about since 1982, it's a long time ago, I've discovered that we have educated clients today who want to know what the process is. They don't enjoy coming in where the therapist is the guru and they don't know from week to week what's going to happen or how the process is working or what they should expect. And especially people who suffer from anxiety. They want relief and they want to know how they're going to get it, and as fast as possible. So I've put in years of experience and work with the tools that I found helpful to people into a system, into a manual. So when people work with me, they know from the beginning what we're going to do. They know session to session what we're going to do. And it actually works. It builds upon itself. So the more that is practiced and done, the more one can feel within a very few sessions how they are thinking and behaving differently. So it becomes a collaborative process where the client and I work together to work through the manuals, make it very personal about each person's experience, but also the practice and repetition of working it through every week in a systematic way. So some of the complaints I heard over the years was, I'll go to somebody, they give me a few worksheets, I try it once or twice, and that's the end of the treatment, but nothing's really changed. This is a process, it's a system. There's a beginning, there's a middle and an end, and by the way, we actually measure progress as we go. And clients feel very empowered to make changes in their life when they use the system. So what are the tools that I use and the tools that I teach? Let me give you a little bit of background first. The reason that I created tools is because people are practical. People, including myself, want answers. If you actually use Google today, people are not asking for theory. Some of the time they are, but it's how do I? What will stop these horrible sensations? People want practical tools that are relevant and useful and that will help them straight away. So what I've done is I've taken CBT, which is an evidence-based method of psychology, cognitive behavioral therapy, and I've translated theory into a practical tool that you can use on an everyday basis. I see my role as educating people in the most easy, friendly way so that it doesn't feel scientific or difficult. So let me get to the chase and tell you what I mean. The most predominant tool that is throughout my system is a 4-step worksheet. As you can see, it's fun, it's in color, and people can actually just fill it out like a multiple choice. You don't have to think or make up alternate thoughts on your own. Now this is a worksheet that once you know how to do it, which takes 10 minutes, is you can use it whenever you're feeling stressed or having a panic attack. You now have a tool that I'm feeling this way, out you take it, fill it out, it's 4 steps, and what you find is that you're immediately able to soothe yourself and to work down your anxiety. Within this, there are various types of tools, and this is what we workshop in each session. So for example, there are thinking tools, behavioral tools, calming tools. They all are done in a different way and help different parts of your anxiety. It helps you with your thoughts. If you're ruminating and thinking the same thing over and over, as an example, it helps with your behaviors. If you're actually immobilized by your fear, these are different ways that you can change your behaviors and thoughts to become more relaxed and to get rid of the negative anxiety. So one of my tools is a pen, and this tool actually encapsulates CBT and encapsulates what you do. So I'll show it to you because you're probably going, how does that work? When I take this pen, I can click it on or I can click it off. What you learn with my system is how to change thoughts as easily as clicking on or clicking off. So it says over here, click on, click off, you choose. Think positive, think negative, you choose. So when you use this pen, you actually read it, and every time you see it, your brain is reminded of this idea that I have a choice. I don't have to stay stuck in these negative thoughts. It's a concrete reminder. I call it a multimedia approach. So you're learning the theory, you're practicing, and then you see the pen and you go, hang on, I don't have to be stuck, I can change. So that's one of the tools. Here are some of the others. For example, the reality perspective ruler, which is one of the favorite tools. This helps you when you're starting to panic to actually stop catastrophizing. I'm obviously not going to give it all away, but you can have a look. These are just concrete representations of the tools. In the sessions, we work through them. We make them entirely relevant to you. How do you use catastrophic thinking in your life? What catastrophic language are you using? And then you have the ruler as a reminder when you actually are doing it. And this works over many years. So there are a whole lot of tools. There are actually 26 tools, and you can use them in 10 sessions and really change your thinking and empower your mind with the system in 90 days. Why I'm passionate about my system, my method, my process, is because it works. And it has many advantages. The client, the individual who's involved, it can actually also be run in groups, knows exactly what the process is. And we know that knowledge is power. Psychoeducation is a very big part of people overcoming their anxiety. because anxiety within itself creates fear of the anxiety. And knowing what's involved and how the brain is working and how each tool deals with that is very empowering and removes a lot of the fear. Another big advantage is that it is time limited. It is put together for 10 sessions, which aligns exactly with the 10 Medicare rebates one can get if you live in Australia. I have worked with people actually since 1974, first as an occupational therapist and then as a clinical psychologist. So when you've seen hundreds and hundreds of people in 2 countries, different continents, you've heard people's issues, you've seen what works, that really contributes to your expertise. Of course, I also have academic qualifications. I have 3 degrees, and I keep up with development every single year, keeping up with all the latest research. I developed my emotion regulation system in the early 1990s. So I can honestly tell you that I have been running my system since 1995, which makes it about 20 odd years. And it's that experience that gives the expertise. It's that experience that helps me to understand people and know what's going to work for them. The great news is that my work is being recognized as well. So currently my manual is with Australian Academic Press, and they're going to be publishing it very soon for other psychologists to use in their practice.